Yo, what's good? It's your boy Low Man, and I'm excited to be back for another eventful day, man. We in here today. I'm doing the podcast, and I have a very special guest, man. When I say I have a very special guest, I mean somebody, man, that I look up to, somebody that has influenced me from the time I met him. I'm gonna give you a little rundown. So he was born on the Southside of Chicago, man. When I say creative visionary, he has a bachelor's in cinematic arts and science from Columbia College. Has a MS in cinema production from DePaul University. I'm telling you, military vet, well-rounded man, has worked on all kind of projects. I'm not gonna give you just. I really want you guys to understand how much this guy is working. And I think I be working, but he always makes me understand that there's always a little bit more work to be done. I'm not gonna keep talking too much. I'm gonna go ahead and bring him on. My guest today is none other than Devon Edwards. What's up, bro?
Yo, what's good? What's good?
I hope my introduction what this is,
Um,
man. I hope it was cool.
no, man, you did. I was like, man, he did his homework, man. This brother was like, wait, where did you get that from?
Yeah, man. I gotta make sure I'm giving you all your credit and all the stuff that's due to you, man. So welcome to the podcast, man. This
I
is
appreciate it, man.
now you're from Chicago, but you're not currently residing in Chicago.
That's
You
correct.
you're out in La La Land, right?
Yep, living in La La Land in the valley, trying to get it done out here.
Now, let's jump into it, man. So, I read a little bit about your background, but that doesn't speak to everything you're doing. You mainly function in the TV world, right?
Yeah, well, right now it's it was TV world, but now it's about to go into long form narratives, so feature films and also short form narratives, short films as well. So yeah,
All right, so
kind of like bounce back and forth.
now I told you we gonna get into a good conversation, man. So, a lot of people now are creating content. They getting out, they start new things. We looking at people from audio like Clubhouse to, of course, YouTube has always been a mainstay. IG has caused a lot of people, IGTV has caused a lot of people to start creating in different formats and measures. For somebody to get into where you are today, that's not where you started, of course. Let's
Nah.
rewind just a little bit, if we can. Let's rewind. How did you get your start into the film, TV, creative space? Because you did serve in the military for what, 17 years?
Yeah, 17 years. I did 17 years, three different branches, four conflicts. Yeah,
Woo!
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's a lot, man. So, like,
yeah.
talk to me. How did you make the jump? And like, I mean, you
Well,
how'd you go ahead and get into?
yeah. To be honest, I didn't even this wasn't like my first thought. I wasn't even thinking about doing film. Um Now I was always taking photos. I was that
Yeah,
guy that was always taking pictures. Always, I mean, whether it be like the old school joint where you got like you snapping and you roll a
yeah,
thing. If it was one of
35.
those, if it was yeah, if it was a Polaroid, or my cousin gave me a digital camera and I was just snapping photos. I remember I was deployed. Let me find out which deployment this was. It was I was deployed overseas in Kosovo,
Yeah.
and I think this is around the time that MTV's "Pimp My Ride" was
Ah,
hot on the television.
exhibit. Yeah.
And so I had bought this Handycam High 8 Sony camcorder when
Yeah.
I was deployed, and me and my army buddies, we were on patrol one day, and we had pulled into this field, and I just thought it would be funny to like make mock videos of the shows we watched back home since we couldn't
Yeah.
get them in Kosovo. So we would like look at the ingenuity of the people in Kosovo, how they would like make, like a half cut up car and put a horse thing attached to it, so it looks like you ride in the back of a Monte Carlo, but is attached to a horse. And this other guy had took this like they got like a lot of Volkswagen Golfs over there. So they had cut this Golf um in half, straight down the middle, and it was just like two seats, and he had like a bicycle attached to it, so where you can and a cart next to it. And I was like, yo, that's crazy. So I pulled out my camera and I started doing the yo MTV's Pimp My Ride Kosovo style, and so I was just going around and shooting those videos. And
Yeah.
then um I don't know what happened was I would also like film like our patrols,
Yeah.
and then it was like my driver, he loves off-roading. So it was like this one road that he always wanted to gun down. It had like a whole bunch of mud puddles and like dips. So he wanted to see how fast he can get this Humvee to go and how high he can get it off the ground. So I just attached my camera to the windshield, off we went. And then when I got back, I edited with I use it was I had a Windows PC. So it was
Movie
what was that?
maker.
Move no,
Windows.
is it Windows?
Windows.
Yeah, Windows
Yeah.
Movie Maker, whatever that thing was.
Yeah,
I was
man.
like I was like cutting the videos of that, and I was just showing it to around on the camp, and like people was like, man, you should like do this all the time, So I started doing it all the time, and every time we go out, it was always something different. And I started in, but even then, I didn't know like film was going to be my thing, because I thought I was going to be in the military forever. I wasn't trying to get out. I was
Yeah.
trying to be like a 30-year veteran. You feel me? But um, lo and behold, I got ill. They sent me home, gave me a medical retirement, and then after that, it was just like,
You got to
well, what
find
I'm gonna do
something.
now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but
So
and it was. Go ahead.
no, so I'm saying, so you come home and now you're seeking for something new to do, and then God puts you on this path to film because you
Yeah.
got a bachelor's and a master's,
Yeah.
and you like still taking courses. Every time I see you, you in a new course.
Yeah, man. It's like I love learning, bro, and it's like the crazy thing is, I was writing this film. It was called From the Battlefield to the Classroom, and I mean, I went back to school when I was 36 years old. And I mean, I had just came from a war zone, battling a terminal illness, and I'm in this film class with like all these kids, 18, 19, 20-year olds still living home with mom and daddy, and they talking about the world like they knew what was going on. And I'm like, man, wait, you don't even pay your own bills. So it's like you don't know, you
You
don't
don't.
know the world, you
Yeah.
don't know what's out there. But I'll tell you what, I wouldn't have went to film school if it wasn't for a real good friend of mine. Um she was a real close family friend. We had known her for years. My wife used to babysit her firstborn son. And I remember I was sitting on the floor in our bedroom, and she was just sitting on the bed doing something with my wife. And we was just talking about going to school, and I was just saying how like nervous I was to go
Yeah.
to school. I was like, all I got was a high school education, and I got 17, 18 years of military. And I was like, I don't know nothing. I don't know how to do nothing but what I've been trained to do. And
Yeah.
she was the one that really poured it into me, like spoke to my spirit and was like, if this is your desire, see, she was like, God will give you the desires of your heart. So all you have to do is just, trust and believe him, and he'll make a way, and he'll set a path.
Oh,
And
yeah.
sure enough, man, he set a path. I went to Columbia College, Chicago. Now, in the military, when you use your GI Bill or any education benefits, you're not allowed to go to a private institution. You have to go
Yeah.
to a public institution. Now, Columbia College Chicago is a private institution, um, and it just so happens like where I was living at was 50 miles outside of the radius to where a film
Wow.
school was located. So they had to
They had,
authorize me
that's
to go
crazy.
to this school. So I took full advantage of it, and I did cinematic arts and science. I had no idea what I wanted to study. It was just I met this guy at a gospel concert. It was Molly music. First time I ever heard of Molly music.
Oh, that's my boy. Yeah, Molly, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
my wife's favorite artist. Yeah,
yeah. First time I went to his, look. Don't tell him I said this. But when I first met, went to his concert, I was like, "What kind of name is Molly?" Like, I was like, I
yeah,
mean, it wasn't a popular drug at the time, but I was like, "But ain't that a drug though?" I was like, "What kind of?" And I seen this guy on stage with a video camera at
yeah,
this concert, and I'm like, man, this dude is killing my vibe because all I see him is like in Molly's face with the camera, and then he'll go over here and then get some shots, and then he's doing all this walk around, and I was like, yo, I cannot pay attention to what's going on because I'm so laser focused on this guy.
yeah,
Now my cousin was running one of the center cams,
yeah,
so when they went back into the green room, he pulled me in the green room with him so I can meet Molly and the rest of the people that was performing. And the guy who was on stage came up to me and it's like, "Yo, do you think your friend would mind like sharing the footage with me? I would really love it to use it for what I'm doing for Molly." And I was like, "Man, hold up!" I was like, "Man, what was the deal, bro?" It's like, what's with all this you was doing?" I said, "I couldn't focus on that." So we got into a conversation, and long story short, he actually went to Columbia too, but he dropped out and started his own film company,
yeah.
and he was going to Detroit to shoot a film called Blessed and Cursed with Dietrich Haddon.
D
And
had,
yeah, D Hattie. And then he had Molly Music was part of the that film. And so
yeah,
he asked me if I wanted to come to Detroit to work with him. And I was like, well, yeah,
yeah,
I went to Detroit. He's like, what did you want to do? And I was like, I don't know. He's like, well, if you want to keep working, you want to be an editor then. I was
yeah.
like, well, shoot, okay, I want to be an editor. And so everything in college, Columbia, I took was post production, and I was a assistant editor on that film. I edited 3 scenes for that film and a trailer, and they kept the 3 scenes that I edited in the final cut. And it was like that was my first time
Yeah.
ever cutting a piece of anything together. I had no clue what I was doing, no clue. And the main editor, he was like, show me a few things here and there, and man, the rest was history. After that, it was just like, what else can I learn how to do? Because if I can edit 3 scenes and they keep it, and this is my first time, what else can I do? So man, I went camera, I did audio, then I started directing, and now I'm writing. So yeah, yeah.
Now, I'm gonna go something you probably don't know. You also did some work with my boy Joel Capity.
That's the dude. Joe Capri is the dude. That's the one that was on stage with
Listen,
the
Joe a
camera.
beast, man. I met Joel. I end up now. Let me tell you how crazy this is. Before I got into film, I was producing music. So Vicky Winans she flew me up to do some stuff in the studio with her and Marvin Jr. and me,
Dreams.
dog. Yep. And he
That's
like,
the film.
you do music and film? Cause I was dabbling. I had my little Sony flip out. I'm documenting the whole thing. I'm pretty much
Wait,
vlogging before it was vlogging.
wait. What was you on the set of Dreams when we was out there?
I they brought me out. I was out on set with them like one day because I was up
Mm,
there a weekend. And Marvin was like, you got to meet Joe. And Joe was like, yo, man, you got to come fool with the set. And they were filming like this outdoor scene. But
yeah.
I only got to stay a little while because me and my Vicky had to get back to the studio to work on the tracks. And
Wow, that's crazy. It's a
I'll tell you
six
how
degrees.
Yep, and they were like,
Six
"Yo, we
degrees.
finna change this," because at the time nobody really was doing gospel like based films.
Right.
And Joel was like, "Man, I don't care what we shoot. I just want to be shooting."
Yeah.
Company taking off, and he and Marvin Jr. were like doing a bunch of collab, and Yeah, man, it was crazy. And when I got a taste of that, I was like, oh man, I know I got to get into this. So,
That's
when I saw you,
crazy.
look how small the world is, man.
Yeah, man, that's so Joe, like whoever listening, like this is why it's so important, that you trust people,
Yeah.
be true to who you are. Joe didn't even know me, and he saw something in me, and he
He that
gave me my first shot.
Joel is that kind of guy.
Yeah,
Like if he can help give you a open door, he'll do it. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
he
that's
was
the homie.
that dude was he was at the cusp of a lot of things. I don't think he really get the credit he deserved. But yeah, man.
That's crazy. That's Man, Joe, I worked so many projects with Joe. I mean, I did Molly Music's concert. I did Shekinah Glory's release DVD. Um, Vicky Wine, not Vicky Winans, Jessica Reedy, Chris Cersei. I mean, like,
all that
man,
stuff up north, he was on it. Like he was
yeah,
and, like documenting and capturing every polys and all. You remember the vest with the glide? Like I was
yeah.
like, bro,
So
y'all doing it big.
then that means you gotta know Brandon Riley.
I want to say I met Brandon once. I don't
Yeah,
know Brandon, but he be with Joel. That's like Joel dude, man.
yeah. Now he got his own company. He does a lot of stuff.
And did his
Music
own
videos.
thing, right?
Yeah,
Now, what is
that's
it? So
crazy.
you were moving in these circles, and this is what I tell people all the time. You got to be of how you carry yourself because everybody that you meet in your industry is probably connected in some way. And
Absolutely.
how your name carries, how you present yourself. Because I know a lot of people, and let's talk about this for a second. Because I tell people your character will open a lot of doors that you can take full advantage of. And I say that because a lot of times people get mad when people don't give them an opportunity straight when they want. So you can meet somebody, and that opportunity may not show itself till a year from that moment. You know what I mean? But if
Right.
you get mad, like, oh, I thought Devon said he was gonna put me on, and I see him working, but he ain't shot me nothing, and
Yeah.
don't nobody want to give me a chance. But it's like, whoa, 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 like you said, hey, you had 3 scenes in that first project that gave you more opportunities. It
Yeah.
gave you confidence. It gave you, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody, because I tell people this, one of the first things when I first got in the game, one of the first big people I met was Richard Smallwood. So,
Mm.
and I mean, like, I'm hanging out with Richard, I'm doing all these things, and I'm like, hey man, he gonna record. I know he gonna record one of my songs because we cool. And I sent him to records, and he was like, "You got a good vamp." I can't do that record. Like after Total Praise and all the stuff, I'm like, I can't. This ain't Richard Smallwood quality. Like
Right.
I don't even take records. Like you got
Yeah.
Stephen Ford was doing, doing, man, and it was like I was so crushed. And then he told me, he said, "Look, I tell you what I will do. I'll give you honest feedback for you to be able to come in and improve on what you got going." And
Right.
because of that, it helped me meet people like Vicky Winans and then be able to have a product that somebody wants to mess with and give you an
Oh, I
opportunity.
apologize for the dog.
Oh, you
Uh,
good, man. I got dogs too.
yeah.
Now, you also right because I just want people to know some of the things that you do. You worked on my 600-pound life.
3 seasons as a
3
camera operator on
Now,
DIT.
let's talk about that. How was it? How is it living on like you look at the show? Matter of fact, my wife loves that show, by the way. Shout out, love. I'm
Yeah.
telling all your business. So she loves that show. I can't watch it because I be feeling bad for people, man. I,
Yeah.
how is it? Because when you look at these, the way y'all shoot this, now you operated the camera. Let's talk about that. So if somebody's watching, what is a camera operator's job?
On this particular show, that since it was unscripted reality, your camera operator's job is to capture everything, emotions, like everything. You capture. There's no such thing as like stop recording. You keep recording. I mean, even when they say, "Hey, don't record this," yeah, you just turn the tally light off. So then you just keep recording and you just position the camera. It is a little trick. You put the camera up under your arm so that way it's still pointing the character. So it's like you recording everything. So yeah, we never stop recording. So our job is just is to capture is to like to be the fly on the wall, so to
Yeah,
speak. To be and we supposed to capture everything, emotions, the things that they don't want to do, the things that they don't want you to see. Yeah, that's what we want to see. So yeah,
but we
it's
want
your job is to capture everything, and what don't make the cutting table, it'll
yeah.
get cut for something else. But
So
yeah, that's your job.
so you work that now. Y'all normally shot what, like 10 hour, 12 hours days? Like what were those days like?
Man, we talking about like 18, 16-hour days, 18-hour days. One day, man, it was like 22 hours,
So y'all
because
y'all living with them.
yeah, I mean, it was broken down like this. We do it in 5-day increments, right? So when we first meet them, the first 5 days is the whole interview process. We interview them, they family, we go where they go, they local hangouts and stuff like that. We do all of that. And then after that, we go grocery shopping, watch them eat. And then the next 5 days is when they transition from where we originally meet them at, because everybody goes to Houston, Texas, because that's where the doctor is. So then
Yeah.
we spent 5 days on, no matter where they live, it's 5 days on the road. You
Really?
know, 5 days on the road. Some of them we had like jury rig, ambulance. Some of them we had to like take all the seats out of a minivan so that they can fit in there. And then it's always a camera guy in that space with them. So like
Wow.
squeezed up, and we film everything. And I'm telling you, I wish they invent this thing called smell-o-vision, because it's like y'all don't get the full veracity of this show
But
without the smell.
oh man.
Man,
Listen, I'm gonna keep it a whole buck with you. One of the common things my wife and I talk about when it comes to this show, bro, is I know they not washing they crack.
no, they are not. Man, I have so many stories. Oh my gosh, so many stories about that show. It was just like
Oh man. Hey, but you did 3 seasons of
three
that.
seasons. Yeah, 3 seasons. I mean, yeah, yeah, I did.
See the
The
frustration,
money was good, bro. The money was good.
the frustration in your face, man. Now,
Yeah.
me like how was that like experience being there? Because you're like you said it earlier, this is somebody's real life, and I'm laughing, but like you really want to see these people get help. You want to see them overcome these things. What gets me is the enabling of people that's right next to them. Like, why are you cooking a whole family meal for breakfast and it's killing them? Like,
Bro, the craziest thing for me was that for most of those that were like the 700, 800 pounders, had
yeah,
somebody that was in their corner that was like a buck 80, maybe 200 pounds. They were slim or slender. And it's like, why are you feeding? Oh my gosh. I remember we did this one guy, I won't say his name,
yeah,
but he was like, I normally don't eat like this, but then we watched him like wolf down like 4 or 5 whoppers in one sitting, like a snack. And a large drink to him. We had this one character, a large drink to him was a 2 liter. That's a
two.
large drink. He
Wow.
would get a big old Slurpee straw, stick it in the 2 liter, and drink it like if it was like a cup of soda, and I was like, bro, that's a whole 2 liters right there. That's 2 liters. And he
But
just,
your job is just there. I'm here to document.
I was like, man, yeah, I've seen some stuff.
Because like I, you see them and you see the bedpans. Like y'all be trying to keep some of that stuff out of it. But I'm looking at the whole frame. I'm like, oh, that's a bedpan on the side of the bed, and they pull it. You see them. I'm like, man, wow, that's like crazy. Why would
Yeah,
why would you enable that? Like,
bruh, I'm gonna
oh,
tell you, a most important. If anybody ever like works reality show, just keep your mouth shut. I made the mistake of asking this guy. We walked in, and I thought the dude had a whole bunch of cats. So I was like, "So where's the cat?" Because I smell like a litter box. So I was like, "Where your cat at?" He's like, "I don't have a cat," and I was like, "Oh, oh,
oh,
my bad, my bad." So I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go ahead on back outside," and that's gonna be that.
and y'all pretty much at their location all day.
Yeah, all day. We get a hotel close to them. Um, and this was like my job, like I was a camera operator, I was a DIT, I was a PA, and like a assistant camera operator. I had all those jobs, and so I made like it was $200 a day, $50 a day for per diem, but I was the only one that got overtime,
Mm.
so every day I always went into double time, and so I was making like, so like once we finish filming, the camera operators give me all of their cameras. I take all of that they media cards. I go back to the hotel, use this old antiquated machine called an MSU to read all these P2
I
cards.
remember you doing that. You used to post it online, like dumping. I remember that when I
Yeah.
first met. Yeah.
I was like, oh man, it was the bane of my existence because those things were real time. So if it was 45 minutes on a card, it was
Oh my,
45 minutes that it took to transfer. I hated it. I
we
hated
we
it.
come a long way.
I'm telling you, I was like, I was begging him to like, why don't y'all go to like a new camera system? We using these Panasonic 250s or something that use these. I was I was I hated it. P2
Yeah.
cards were I hated P2 cards.
I
Hated them.
remember the Canon. When I first got in, a lot of people don't know my first stint into film was actually me recording the audio. So I was
Mm,
the boom operator because my background in engineering,
yeah,
like, oh man, this guy, he can
yeah,
blah. I had you remember, I think it was like the X2 or like the,
yeah,
you remember the body had like the L shape and those
yeah.
DV
They had
tapes.
the little dip up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The
And
big old silver circle on the side of it. Yeah,
yes, sir. And all
yeah,
those cameras, man, you had to dump them like in real time, man. And I used to
yeah,
hate it because if you glitched, you had to start all over, man. And
yeah. And see, that was the thing that I hate about this thing because the thing that always happens if a file gets corrupted,
yeah,
that means I have to delete it and do it all over again. And so I'm working with like 8 to 10 cards. I'm up to like 2, 3 in the morning that I got to charge the batteries, and then I have to prepare it. I have
for
to
the next.
archive it first on the drive, prepare it, and then call the runner to drive from Austin to Houston to come pick it up first thing in the morning to get it back to Austin to the story editors so they can edit the episode for that week's airing, you
Yeah,
know. So it was rapid pace, So you always had to like think quick on your feet, find new ways to work while you in transition. So
yeah.
man, yeah. Man, that was my wilderness experience right there. So I was like, I was putting in work. I was putting in work.
Now, I want to talk about this real quick because I've loved to see how people grow and progress. Now, you've gotten your hands, you paid your dues with cameras and being on set, but then you started to pick up this craft called writing. I noticed that it was less. about certain aspects, but you really started getting in love with writing. Now, how did that come about?
I'm a see what it was is like you work on everybody else's projects, and they get all the accolades, the praise, and then they get the paychecks.
Yeah.
And it was like you do good at one thing, and it's like, oh well, he's good at this, so we always just gonna hire him as that. And that was cool, but I was just sitting there thinking one day, it's like, you know what? I mean, I got stories to tell too,
Yeah.
I did this one thing when I was in college. I wrote a short film. It was called The Past You Can't Escape,
Oh,
and it was just a 4-minute film, no dialogue, about a glimpse of a single night that a soldier who came back from war, what they deal with in a single night,
yeah.
and how we try to cope, because at that time I was dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder, and it was like I would have night terrors, cold sweats and things of that nature. So I made a film just to show that portion of it,
Yeah.
and then I won filmmaker of the year, and
Yeah.
this is a crazy thing. There were the people that I was in competition with, like I watched their films, and the production value was like, man, it was like they used a red or Ari, and it was just like color
Yeah.
corrected. I mean, it was, man, the sound design was like amazing. I was like, oh, why am I even gonna go to this award show? Because I know I'm not gonna win. Because like looking at theirs, I was like, oh, I'm not winning. Because I shot mine on a Canon 5D Mark II.
Yeah.
I used a H4n,
Oh, yeah.
for audio, for what little bit of audio we did use, and
Yeah.
the rest was Foley.
Yeah.
It was just Foley. But what the judges told me, and I didn't even consider this. They was like, yeah, his film looks great. The production value is great, but there was no story. There was no
No me.
cohesiveness, no story. He said, but yours, it was good. Don't like knock your production value. I mean, because you use an independent camera, and in 4 minutes we felt what
Mhm.
that character felt, and it was really, really good. And that's why you won. And so from that point on, I was like, well, shoot, I need to like learn how to better tell
Yeah.
stories, So I mean, and undergrad and graduate level, I never took a writing class because I was like, oh, I'm a hire writer. I'm
Yeah.
not. No, I'm a hire writer. But then when I tried to get collab with this one writer, and we was talking about a project, and he wanted to change what the person did for a living. Where the stuff, the location, the stuff happened at, and I was like,
Yeah.
this is now becoming your story as opposed to my story. So I was like, no, we can't do it. So I was like, man, I might as well. And plus, what they wanted to charge me, I said, well, shoot, for how much you charge me, might as well learn how to write myself.
Learn
You
to write
know,
stuff. Yeah. And I
and
think
that's
a
that's exactly what I did.
Now, I'll say this too, because a lot of people don't respect the art of writing. And we see this because even in Hollywood, writers are always going on strike. And I love the fact that you said the example about you can have the best gear, you can have the full out crew, but if the story is lacking, if the writing is lacking, why are we watching? You know what I
Exactly.
mean? And my wife, she always talks about, she said, you'll watch anything. And I tell her all the time, for me, even a bad story can teach you something
Hmm.
because sometimes you can start out good in a story, but then you lose me in the you don't know how to close it out in the end. And a lot of
Right.
times I think that's why the art of writing is so beautiful to me is because these the writer has to not only become the character, he has to also get in the seat of all the surrounding people around that character. He has to see it from those vantage points or all the way to the end. When you look at let's take for instance what's what's Tarantino's one of the first films I can't think of the name where all the bad guys unusual suspects, right?
Okay,
Did
I
you ever
think you're
see
talking about
unusual
Inglorious
suspects?
Bastards.
Yeah. So unusual suspects, everybody felt validated in their in their role, right? I'm entitled to this. You are disrespecting me. You know, all these characters, but in the end, you people in a different light, in a way, always evolving. And I love that good writers never let you see the whole part of a character until they are ready to reveal it. And then just when you
Right.
think you know somebody, they give you something else about their actions that makes you say, I'll be doggone, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's life, you
Yeah.
know. And I don't know. So like what are you currently writing right now? Where you're, where are you going with your writing right now?
Well, right now I'm working on two things. I'm working on a feature
Hmm.
and a pilot. The both the feature and the pilot I pitched to HBO, and I mean I got my no, but it was cool. So it's just like, okay, HBO not the only game in town, so it forced me to kind of like take a step back and like look at what I presented.
Yeah.
And what I decided to do was like, I'm in a writers group where we do Zoom table reads, and it's another one we do on the Clubhouse app. We do a screenwriters table read, and so I was like, well, let me just like hear it out loud, because normally I just write and the voices are in my head, and I
Yeah.
never like speak it out loud. So what I decided to do um, was have them read it out loud, so that way I can hear how it sounds and see if it made any sense, and then to get notes from seasoned and experienced writers. And that's what I did. And so I rewrote a couple of scenes for my pilot and was read yesterday. And then I mean I was blown away by the response and how everybody reacted and responded to it. And I mean they just really like loved it, and everybody wants to hear more. And even a producer in the room said that when I'm ready to produce, that they want to be the first one to be called to produce it. And so I was like, well, let's get it. So now I'm working on that. So I'm writing this pilot. It's called The Chosen Few, and it's about like four best friends from the Southside of Chicago in the '80s, whose older siblings or family members are notorious gang leaders, and they're caught in the shadow of their siblings, and they're
Wow.
just trying to be kids, but they're trying to battle, what comes with, being a gang leader. And because like back in the day, it was like everybody be like, oh, don't mess with him, that's so and so brother.
Yeah.
Oh, don't say nothing to her. Oh,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
so and so niece. You
Yeah.
know, and
She,
so and yeah, and nowadays when people want to try to make a name for themselves back in the hood, they go after the person who got the most clout. It's
on the
like,
block. Yeah.
yeah, you gotta take them out. So, but the spin on this particular pilot, because every show, film, whatever you see about Chicago is one element that they never include, and that's
Mhm.
Chicago house music. And like house music is so huge and kept me out a lot of trouble, growing up. So the caveat is this film is going to be this series is going to be focused more
A salute to that.
on, yeah, it's gonna pay homage to all the fallen house DJs that we used to have, like Frankie Knuckles, all the house head, excuse me, all the chosen few house DJs, because we do a picnic every year called the Chosen Few Picnic, and that's why where I got the title from, you
I like.
know. So yeah,
Now,
it's going to do that.
that was wonderful. I want to go back for a second because I want to make sure anybody that's listening or watching this understands the gem you just gave. You said that hearing the words that you wrote out loud changed the perspective on how you were seeing what you were writing, because the
Absolutely.
voices in your mind don't always translate out the way you hear them inwardly. And as a writer like that, I'm taking notes because I also want to increase my writing. I often have a lot of stories, and I have a great muscle reaction or reflex to be able to hear somebody's story and then visualize it. Like
Right.
that's one of my strong suits. But sometimes my concepts get tangled, boggled, whatever you might call it, when I'm trying to separate those stories or those developments in my own head. So sometimes when I'm writing, I often find myself doing what you just said. It sounds good in my head, but then it's like, oh, then I just like, I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm just tell other
Yeah.
people. But
Yeah, that's why it's so important to have it. Like now, what I do when I write, I read it out loud, because in my head it sounds great. I
yeah,
mean, because in my head it sounds, oh man, this sounds good. Ooh, that was a good line right there. And then when I when I hear it out loud, I was like, I wrote that. I wrote that. It's like,
yeah,
man, what was I thinking? So yeah, it's very important to like have it read out loud, and then like just especially to have an I mean, you don't have to be like a trained actor or anything like that. I mean, if you can get actors, I mean, that's great. But if not, but just to have somebody else read it, because if they stumbling over what you wrote, then you might be trying to be too
yeah.
fancy and too wordy, and then they'd be like, I mean, do people really talk like this? And yeah, it was I learned so much by like hearing it out loud. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man. I'm really happy about that. Now, also, I know most people don't know, but you also work for corporate Disney.
Yes. Yes, so I am a health and safety supervisor for Disney production studios, and we're currently in pre-production for the Cheap About a Dozen reboot that's written by Kenya Barris, the same guy who did Black AF and Blackish. So
Blackish,
yeah,
yeah. And he's making a lot of moves too, man.
oh yeah,
It's almost like somebody asked me the other day, what did I think about black film? Like, do I think black films are making a comeback or whatnot? And honestly, I told him I don't think it ever left.
mm-mm.
Hollywood put the spotlight on the things that they wanted. And now that the internet and so much content is being consumed, now everybody has a fair shake at developing stories that, you know, are being told. And now, through platforms like Netflix and HBO Max, you're seeing people be able to show that if you give us something good to support, people are watching it because
Yeah,
Issa is killing it. And matter of fact, to submit something for her short Sundays. You ever follow any of those?
which
I
one is
like
that?
what it's called Issa Rae Presents. It's
Oh
her
yeah,
YouTube on her YouTube. She does short Sundays. So
yeah,
a lot of those people talk about how she helps develop and give them opportunities based on that platform itself. And I think some of them might even have been picked up by HBO. I think they're doing it, they're calling it Our Stories to Tell initiative right now. But yeah, man. So we're gonna switch it up a little bit. Let me see right here. I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit. uh you got to answer these questions, bruh. Just straight out of the gate. Don't think them, just answer them.
okay.
All right, so what was the last thing you watched?
Last thing I watched was Little Things,
Little
the,
Things.
the
Oh,
Denzel Washington film.
yeah, with Denzel. All right, so what's the last book you read?
I'm reading it right now. It's called Manipulating the Masses.
Oh, now who's that by?
It's by, I got it right here on my desk. John Maxwell Hamilton. Um,
Okay,
yeah,
manipulating the.
it's Woodrow Wilson and the Birth of American Propaganda.
Okay, now what is the last food you ate for dinner?
It's soul food, and my wife just brought it in. So, and so it's about to be some collard greens, some mac and cheese, and some dressing.
All right. My question, man. Uh, who's your favorite influencer right now?
uh, Low Ballard.
Oh, come on, man. I take that though. I take that. Hey, now where they find you at, brother?
You can find me on Instagram as the Inspired Filmmaker on IG, or Devon J. Edwards. Twitter is the Inspired Filmmaker as well. So yeah,
Now
I'm not
are
on TikTok. I don't do TikTok or Snappity Chat. I don't do
we
all
grown?
that.
Yeah, we grown over here. Now, are you taking any side work? Are you available for hire?
I am available for hire. I used to do creative consulting, so I'm available for creative consulting, whether it be new digital media or film festivals, selection and submissions, post production, and also any production work as related to AD or camera or even writing.
All right, man. Y'all hit my boy up, man. I appreciate you for coming on the podcast, man.
For
It's
sure, for sure.
I wish I could talk to you forever, man, but we gotta keep it in some sort of medium. But
Right.
definitely gotta come back, man. We gotta do some following up. I love that you talked about, all of your experiences and gave those great gems and nuggets.
Yeah,
Check
for
out
sure.
Devon, follow him, support him, man. Chicago has a lot of good things coming out right now. So, matter of fact, shout out some of your Chicago homies, man. Put the people on some of your.
Oh man, I got to shout out Santa Cole Young. Y'all need to go ahead and follow her. London Lowe, she's an up and coming, I call her the Princess of Chicago. She's an artist out there. Justin Ruff, Avery Young, Datura Hale, Brittany Nightingale, Malcolm Banks, James Reed. These all are my Chicago homies, the ones that's even out here, Victor Edwards, uh, 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 Susan Reed. So yeah, man, those that's my Maurice Dortch. Troy Pryor, Camp Creative Cipher in Chicago. If you in
Yeah,
Chicago and you want to get into this business and you want to have somebody that's going to lead you and guide you in all aspects, because there's a business to the side of entertainment. That's why they call it entertainment business, because it's the business of it. Go check out the Creative Cipher, Troy Pryor. You will not be disappointed.
there you go, man. Hey, once again, I'm so excited that you came on, bro. I appreciate it, man. And we're gonna get
Appreciate you
out of
having
here,
me.
man. Hey, man, look, it's your boy Low, man. Thank y'all for tuning in. Your boy's back doing the podcast, so we in season 2, and we kicked it off with such a great guest, man. I'm
Nah,
excited.
I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man. So y'all, look, if you're not following, go follow the BEPS Network. It's a network for creators, for people to get their stories out, man. We trying to build content. We trying to build a whole, man, and the creators as they come up and grow, man, so that they can go on to Netflix and Amazon and different platforms and do great things. So until next time, man, I'm gonna get with y'all. It's your boy Low. Peace.
Peace.